Hi there, welcome back to the Friendly Fox. Today I've found this great fabric and I'm going to make a very simple pair of stretch pants. There's only 2 pattern pieces to this and I think you're going to love it. Let's get creative. So this is a very simple pattern. That's it. And when it wraps around both sides, then you have a seam here and a seam here. These are so easy to make. And because you're using a stretch fabric, they're so forgiving that if you don't get the pattern exactly right or the exact size, it'll work anyway. So you want to get this pattern piece with the greatest amount of stretch. Whatever fabric you choose, you'll notice one stretchy way is more elastic than the other. And so because you want the elastic stretch to go around your body, make sure that you're on the pattern piece in the correct way. Make sure you get all your bumps and folds out so that you're not cutting over something that's going to interfere with your cut. Alrighty. Now that that's cut out, I just want to cut out the waistband. You saw in a previous video where I did the sweatshirt waistband. Again, you have to make sure that you've got the most amount of stretch working with the direction that you're wanting to have that stretch. You only need to cut one of these, but I'm going to cut 2. If you need to adjust the width of this pattern piece, now's the time to do it. Okay, those are the 2 pattern pieces, so let's go sew. So when you take this off of the table, when you've cut it, you can see that this is a little bit shorter, so that's the front, and this has a longer sweep and a deeper curve, that's the back. So without moving any parts around, you just take this to the sewing machine and start sewing on it. So right sides together on the front. And then the other side, we're going to go right sides together for the back seam. And now to create the legs, which is really easy, you just take that bottom of the front seam to the bottom of the back seam. Put that together, and that creates your legs. You can do this all in one if you want to, or you can start at the center here. That's what I do. I start at the center and take it to the bottom, and then I come back and start at the center and take it to the bottom. So now, when you turn that inside out, there's one pant leg, and the other pant leg, and now we just need to do the waistband. So elastic comes in white, black, and usually in a nude color if you're making underwear. It comes in different thicknesses. This is the one I use when I'm making masks. There's black. There's another white in a different width. The one I'm going to use today is black, and this is specifically made for swimwear or underwear, and that's what I'm going to use today. So you take the measurement of the person that's going to be wearing this, and you go 3/4 of that, so that you don't just put a piece of elastic that's their waist around it. You want it to be a little bit tighter. So if their waist is 25 inches, you're only going to use 20 inches of the elastic just to give it that little bit of stretch so that it pulls in. And then we're going to take this piece here, which is actually the waistband, And with right sides together, we're going to close this seam here. And then that becomes the waistband. I'm going to close this. So now with that seam and that seam together, it goes in there. And then I take that seam and I put it on the center back of the pants. So it'll match right there. So now with right sides together, we're going to stitch the waistband onto the pants. So now in 4 easy seams, I've made a pair of pants. And I'm gonna just do a straight hem on these. I'm not gonna put a cuff on them. Cuffing is easier, but I'm just gonna put a straight hem on the bottom. And if you wanted to make these like a pair of leggings, you just tighten up this part here and then it becomes a legging. Now to hem these pants, turn them inside out. And do a small turn on the outside. I sometimes joke that my sewing is just to hold my good ironing in place. I find too a little trick that if you let your ironing just cool, then the pressing has a chance to sort of set up and you have a greater chance of it staying that way, as opposed to moving it right away, because then it'll just undo your ironing. You want these turns to be the same size, or your pant legs are going to be different lengths. Okay, let's go sew. So on the faff, I have a setting to do hemming. And so now that this is the way I've pressed it, now we're going to turn it under, and then the faff will stitch here, and then every 5th stitch, it does a zigzag and goes over and hooks the other part of the pant leg. When you're stitching hems, you should go slow. There's no law that you have to sew fast. So doing hems, it's always best to go slow. And that's what it'll look like when you're finished. We'll press that and it'll just look like you won't even see the stitching. So now I'm just going to give this bottom hem a little bit of a press to straighten out the stitch lines. And you can see up close that the stitches are just hidden now. So there we are finished. And with, I think, 2 pattern pieces and 4 or 5 seams, we've made a really cute pair of lounge pants. And if you wanted to wear this with a long black tunic, or if you wanted to make them out of a plain fabric, they could be quite dressy. I would recommend this for a beginner sewer. It's not a difficult pattern to do. So thanks for joining me.